Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 10, Chapter 20. Whom to Serve. Time flows fast. The physical frame of man deteriorates every second. The mind that operates in that frame flutters from one desire to another without rest. But man does not know, nor does he care to know. He revels in untruth, injustice, and unrest. Today, wherever we turn our attention, we find only fear, faction, and fury. On one side, we find scientists circling in the sky like eagles and moving under the sea like fish. On the other, we see the pitiful sight of man struggling upon the hard ground under his feet, not knowing how to live in love thereon. He lives in dire distress, in hate and anxiety, daggers drawn, brother against brother, just for a morsel of food. Unaware of his duty, he pursues ruinous ideals. Institutions devoted to the service of mankind, like the Lions Club and the Rotary Club, are thriving in various countries. I have myself visited some of these in Kampala, Bombay, Jamnagar, and other places, and noticed the enthusiasm of the members when you grasp the significance of the word service. You will find that it is not so much the service of others, but the service for yourself. Once you feel the distinction that the other person is foreign, then service becomes patronage. It loses its savor. It fosters the evil of egotism. The person served also feels hurt. He is aware that he is inferior. Such service is quite against the sadhana called seva. Sincerity has disappeared from human affairs. This feeling of superiority and inferiority based on possessions and material considerations has resulted in the unrest that has engulfed this land today. Man is today afraid of himself. He feels that the house in which he lives has no deep foundation, and so it may fall on him any moment. The spiritual is the only strong foundation for the house in which man has to spend his life. When man bases his life on the faith that all are endowed with the same divine spark, there will be no fear, and there will not be any hatred anymore in human relations. Brothers and sisters has become just a conventional form of address when a man gets up to speak. It does not come from the heart. Sincerity has disappeared from human affairs. Mention was made of the poverty and the deficit in food that prevails in this country. There is enough food for all, provided food is conserved by wise consumption, by individuals and by society. More can be produced when people are strengthened by faith in their own resources and their own capacity. Self-condemnation is the proper tonic for national reconstruction. If only man becomes aware of his potentiality, there is nothing impossible for him. Grace, once earned, once gained, can ensure plenty and prosperity. But it is difficult to arouse a person who is only pretending to sleep. If he is really asleep, a touch is enough to awaken him. India is not immersed in sleep. It pretends to sleep. Religion will always bind and not divide. The prime cause for the increasing hatred between man and man, village and village, region and region, is the avarice that has infected the individual. It has destroyed contentment, created factions, brought about splits, and multiplied misery all around. Removing the head is not the remedy for a headache. Removing religion from the curriculum of life. This is not the remedy for rivalry between religious communities. Discover the causes for the rivalry and remove them. That is enough. Religion will always bind. It will not divide. It unifies. It does not disintegrate. The scientist investigates all that is perceptible by the senses, but the saint travels beyond the realm of the senses, the intellect, and even the imagination, into the regions touched by rare-field intuition. The Rotarians must try to understand both realms and appreciate the value of both disciplines. I would advise you to carry out service programs in the rural areas in preference to urban, for rural areas are more in need of sympathy and more capable of appreciating it. Again, I would request that you emphasize self-control and education as more beneficial methods of family planning than artificial methods now being propagated. For artificial methods pose significant risks to both the moral and physical health of the people. Yoga is defined as Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the control of the wavering mind. Propagate the yoga philosophy. That will have more lasting and more far-reaching results on the family than those contrivances. Faith in God has to be implanted in the minds of the children, for it is an anchor for the ship of life. When it is being tossed about in the stormy seas ahead, the epics of India have great examples of faith and fortitude. These can attract children and youth. I am glad Bal Vikas are also part of the program of work you have envisaged. Treat it as a valuable limb of your activities. The country will get vast benefit for the small outlay that Bal Vikas require. It is good national service as well as service for the children. Rotary Club, Anantapur, August 16th, 1970. There are two things that draw man's mind, Hita and Priya, the beneficial and the pleasant. Prefer the beneficial to the pleasant, for the pleasant might lead you down the sliding path into the bottomless pit. The true doctor is interested in curing you of all illnesses, and so he advises Hita to restore your health. The Guru is such a doctor. Obey him, even when his prescription is unpalatable, for you can only be cured by him. Sri Sathya Sai Baba.